How about we talk about the Super Nintendo again, huh? I've been going a little bit crazy with these newer consoles, and I am ConsoleCole, right? I gotta switch it up. This review, we're looking at the mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Super Nintendo. Talk about a blast from the past. If you lived under a rock in the 90s, then maybe you don't know about Power Rangers, because they were the Pokemon before Pokemon became a thing in terms of popularity. They sold toys, they sold merchandise, they made tons of money, and if you ever watched the original TV show as an adult, you know they absolutely robbed people. Yeah, look it up. They used clips from a TV show called Super Sentai, and the other half of the show is just a Saved by the Bell spoof for American audiences. My gullible 8-year-old self couldn't figure out how low quality this was, and I almost feel ashamed about it now sometimes. But that's the show, and this is the game. It doesn't mean there's a correlation in quality. It's a beat-em-up game, and you can select any of the 5 original Power Rangers, but it's kind of a bummer you can't select Tommy, though. To my knowledge, there isn't a huge difference in playstyles other than when you morph, which I'll touch on later. As with most beat-em-ups, you play through the level beating up lower skilled enemies before you fight the main boss at the end of the level. In this case, you fight the Putties, Rita Repulsa's henchmen. Each ranger has their own fighting tactics. You play as whichever human you've chosen, but then after getting halfway through the level, you can morph. So after morphing, you use the weapon that each ranger uses in the show. I typically play through as Jason, so I've been accustomed to using the sword, which does give you a little bit more range, but I'm kind of disappointed that when you use Kimberly, you can't use her bow and arrow from the show. Or I guess you do use the bow, but you kind of use it as a sword and not a bow. Oh, if you hit a certain button combo, then you can use it. Never knew that until now. Learn something new every day, huh? You're also given a special move that does damage to everything on screen. I mean, it hits the boss for about 2 or 3 hits worth of damage, and it kills all the puddlies pretty easily, so it's not overpowered, but it's not completely useless. At the end of each level, you have to fight a boss. Now, most boss fights themselves are pretty good. Each one has their own strategy and powers to make them unique and challenging, but none of them are more difficult than they have to be. I believe the difficulty of this game is just at the perfect level. I would say that the bosses themselves are a little lackluster from the Power Rangers universe. I mean, it was a Monster of the Week TV show, so not many bad guys stuck around for too long. Most of them only appeared for 1 or 2 episodes on the TV show, so they weren't really that memorable. I promise you the game developers just watched 5 or 6 episodes of the Power Rangers, took the bad guys from that week, and just stuck them in the game. What's really surprising about this game is that it completely changes the game mechanics about 75% into the game. It switches to a Megazord battle, and it's interesting. I mean, I applaud the creators for going all out and trying to give this game some more variety, but it just doesn't feel right. It feels like it changes from a beat-em-up game to a fighting game like Street Fighter, and the controls are a bit different too. Actually, these levels are a little bit more fun to play this time around than when I had played this game in the past. It's a lot more strategy than the other fights, even though the last fight straight up cheats when the enemy isn't even at its final form. Like, what is this, Dragon Ball Z? Yeah, what the heck, I'm beating this guy handily and then he changes form and regains all of his health that I had dwindled down? It just seems like an artificial way to make the game harder. But I digress. Originally I wrote this review as more negative than what I decided to go with. I just didn't remember this game being as well rounded as it is. I honestly thought the Megazord fights were a lot worse and a lot harder, but this time around it wasn't as bad. So it's going up in my book. Like a lot of other games I review, goes in the middle, because I would like to have a Super Nintendo list, but I just don't have that many reviews out there, so this is gonna have to do. Go go ConsoleCole! I just wanted to say that. Hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks for watching. I'm working on the next review soon, so stick around.